FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
We are back on the Financial Survival Network. You're listening to Kerry Lutz, and so many things happening in the precious metals market as well as the world. So you need to be listening, paying attention, because opportunities, they don't happen often, but when they do, you need to act. And by the way, if you want to support the show, go to clubfsn.com and help us out. And hey, person who has been spot on about these markets for a very long time, you really want to go check out his sites. One is the Value View Gold Report. The other is the AgriFoodValueView.com. His name is Ned Schmidt. He's been following commodities and precious metals for longer than you want to know. Ned, welcome back. How are you?
Fine. How about you today?
Hey, it's a great day. Great day to be looking at precious metals. They've been trying to knock them down since last night with a very small degree of success. I mean, gold is still getting close to that 1320 mark. Silver is still over $21 a share. So Ned, what is your take here on the markets?
Well, I mean, clearly you've got to put the bear market mentality out of your head. I mean, the gold bears are going to start becoming extinct next month. We don't have to talk too long about how bad the political situation is. That is having an impact on interest in the precious metals, particularly outside the United States. Only in the United States do you have bears on the precious metals, and that's because they only think one thing, paper stock. And they're going to have to face the reality that the precious metals aren't down, they're up. Gold put in its first low a year ago in June, about $12.85 in the cash market. It put in a low in December, $12.82, $3 lower. But it's up, gold is up 10% from that low. And if you just sit down and take a look at the charts, don't look at a long-term chart. One of the things big mistakes people made is using charts that are too long or too short. But just simply look at the chart. Gold doesn't have any material overhead resistance. I mean, you can talk about 13, 20, 25 if you want, and that might be a little resistance, but the trading funds have so liquidated their futures positions that they're not going to go much lower. They're going to go up. So those resistance levels that people want to talk about are 13 and a quarter, 13.85. They're not strong resistance. And so basically, you get above 13.25, and you don't have overhead resistance of any size, because gold and silver are different than stock. People may be frustrated and curse what they didn't do, but they don't go down to their safety deposit box and dump all their gold and silver coins and take them to the pawn shop. So the physical demand doesn't serve as an overhead supply. And the big investment community, which is still dominated by the states, is the bear community. They don't have big positions anymore. The only way they can go is long now. Now, as we've talked, the street is like ladies of the night. They don't care whether it's the American Legion or the firefighters in town. They're going to go where the business is, and they've been wrong since December, and they won't stay wrong long. So what we've got is they will strike their second quarter financial statements on Monday. And they're going to sit down and look and say, look, guys, we've been wrong all year. The gold stocks are up over 20% since December, and the NASDAQ is up about 4%. So they're going to start switching. They won't stay wrong long. And so without material overhead resistance, the geopolitical situation is extremely supportive of gold. People in the Ukraine are not buying biotechnology stock or this technology stock or that. They're buying gold and silver. And that's going on around the world. So the situation starts to change next week. Now, I don't want people to think that I believe that gold is going to 1900, and I'm already hearing 2,000 estimates by Christmas, which I don't think that's going to happen. But it's going to move up. It's the way to go. Now, take a look at silver. I mean, silver has made an impressive case recently. I mean, we've got to remember that silver's bear market ended in June of last year when it made its low. And silver made a very impressive move. They tried to push it down below $19, and it wouldn't stay there. It went $18.85 or something like that. And then, bang, it's back at $21. Silver has shown that the path of least resistance is up, not down anymore. And people have to quit thinking in terms of the metals are down when actually the metals have done a very nice return already. And the whole system supports that move.
Yeah, and it just, the whole country, it seems, is just anti-precious metals. I guess it comes from 100 years of the Federal Reserve really kind of brainwashing the populace that paper is king, right?
Right, and remember that bearishness is unique to the United States. I mean, if you go to Asia or Europe, the interest is still high. I mean, the ETF in Japan for gold is the largest in terms of ounces it's ever been. I mean, the problems between China and Japan don't get much press these days, but to the locals, it's important. And the United States, we are the only bear community long-term on the precious metals. But I think that will change given the ineptness of our leadership in Washington. It will change.
Yeah, and it's just a question of when, and I think it's changing now, isn't it?
Right, and remember the stock markets and the precious metals markets, but in particular the stock market, discounts the future. And like we talked earlier, the GDX is up 20% this year. Last week, AEM made a new 52-week high. GOLD is banging on the door of a new high. And AU is not too far behind, or GG. When those stocks start appearing on the new high list on a regular basis, that is going to draw investment money. I mean, remember that a lot of the money managed by large funds is momentum driven and uses computer algorithms where people don't make the decision. But once this momentum starts flowing through those algorithms, those computer models will start buying. They don't care what they were talking about on CNBC yesterday morning. They won't stay wrong long, and they will cave. And a bear on the gold and silver, he or she is destined for extinction next month.
Interesting. It's going to happen that quickly, huh? And then once all the bears are gone.
Yeah. And that sounds like a rash statement, but remember, these people live and die by their end of the quarter financial statement. And in July, they will start reporting performance numbers, and it will start appearing in the Wall Street Journal and the Financial Times and on the cable media, just how poor their returns are. And they're going to look, what should we have done differently? We should have been in the metals.
Yeah, and then the fun is going to begin because once everybody is focusing on the same thing and the bears are gone and the demand dynamics change, then it starts going. And then what about what's happening in the COMEX? Is that just become history?
No, the net position in gold and silver and futures by large traders is just abysmally low. I mean, it could go lower, but the way they manage money, if they're long $1 zillion in stocks, they're going to own some gold and silver. And they're at those minimum positions now, where really the only way their positions can go is up. And there was some positive news too on in the futures. And one of the problems we've had this last year is the giant net short position of the commercials, which are essentially gold producers. And they seem to have started covering those positions in the last couple of weeks, which you would expect they would do. So it's just gradually turning, and keep in mind, again, I keep saying it, these people will not stay long. If they see, when they start looking at their returns, that they've been wrong, they will start shifting. I mean, these are not expensive women that run these investment funds.
Mm-hmm. Well, I agree with you. And let's talk about agriculture and food commodities when we return on the Financial Survival Network.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next.
Are you worried about the coming dollar collapse? Then Borderless Holdings, formerly known as Owings Metals, is the place to go. Gold and silver are the key to protecting your wealth from a declining dollar. Call them now at 855-604-6343. The Borderless Holdings team will eliminate the anxiety and take the guesswork out of your precious metals buying decision. I recently purchased silver bullion from them at the lowest possible price. Would you believe I got my metals delivered in less than a week? Seth Peretzman, Kevin Drost, and the guys at Borderless Holdings are great people who pride themselves on providing the highest level of service to all their clients and always exceed your expectations. Call them now at 855-604-6343. That's 855-604-6343, or visit them at www.borderlessholdings.com and tell them Kerry sent you.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next.
Urgent alert. Ex-Secret Service agent claims it's worse than people know. One of Obama's former Secret Service agents recently smelled a rat. What he discovered inside our government was so devastating, he only saw one option. He quit. What's worse, he fears what he found could affect your job, your neighborhood, and most importantly, your family, very soon. It's worse than people know, he said in a recent interview, and I'm not trying to scare you either. We, too, share his concerns. This is why we've devoted the better part of 3 years collecting solutions for nearly all problems created by intrusive governments, and we've succeeded. Go to hiddensecrets1.info to check out all the details. Our panel of insiders have devised a legal but sneaky set of solutions to help you reclaim your privacy from the NSA, opt out of Obamacare, and make a bundle from little-known investments and small business opportunities. Simply visit hiddensecrets1.info. That's Hidden Secrets, the number 1.info.
The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
We're back. We're talking with Ned Schmidt on the Financial Survival Network about gold, silver, and agriculture. So what's going on here? What's changed since we talked to you last?
Well, it's thus far this year, agricultural prices are up on average 12%. And since the beginning of the year, what's been happening is demand is slowly becoming dominant. I mean, we had the big event at this time of the year is always planting season in the northern hemisphere, particularly North America. That went off as good as it can go. So there's a lot of optimism on supply, pessimism on price in corn and soybeans. But if you look at the rest of the group of agri-commodities, they're all got lows in and they're getting stronger. I follow 16 commodities, and 11 of them have positive price trends. Beef just hit a new high yesterday. I mean, it's not going to get cheaper. I mean, we see no help on the beef prices till maybe September, October of next year. And the underlying demand around the world, from China, from all the rest of the nations in Asia, is now at the point where they can only satisfy that demand by importing food. In other words, China has and Asia, but particularly China, is going to have to, their demand for dairy products has just exploded. And it's going to rise about 20 million tons a year in incremental demand. Half of that will have to come from importing milk. The other half will come from importing corn and soybeans to feed milk cows. These nations cannot produce sufficient domestic food anymore to feed their people. So we're now in what I like to call, we've just passed through the crossover, where China is going to have to increase imports of food to satisfy any increase in demand. And so at the margin, we're talking about 75 to 90% of any incremental demand for food in China coming from imports. And what I call the Magnificent Seven, which is basically the U.S., Ukraine, Argentina, Brazil, Australia, Canada. Those are the only nations that can satisfy it. And so we're going to load soybeans on ships, and the Canadians are going to load canola on ships. It's going to go to China, and those boats will come back filled with money. And that's the part we're interested in, right?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, we're not in this to save baby seals. I mean,
right.
Not in it. About money.
We're not in it to save the manatee, right?
No, that's the 4th of July barbecue stuff. But
yeah.
it's the growth in consumer demand outside the United States and a few pockets, like, I mean, there's always going to be in Argentina and Venezuela. There's always going to be in Italy and Spain. But the growth in consumer demand in Asia and the rest of the world is just continuing. And we can only, that demand has to be satisfied every single day, be it for oil or soybeans or pork. It's kind of like a decade-long setup. I mean, the game in agri-food is not ever going to be over again.
So we've got to find better ways of producing more, don't we?
Right, and the problem gets to be that gets harder to do. I mean, we have pushed the technology of a corn plant near limits. You can only grow so many ears of corn on a plant. A plant can only uplift so much water, so much nutrients, and photosynthesize so much sunlight, that what we have done is push that efficiency of plants, push the efficiency of planting plants to such a high level that technological advances are going to occur, but they're small gains. I mean, it's like going from a black and white TV to a color TV. That was the big leap. Now you got high definition, which admittedly is better, but, you know, you were happy with your color TV before you got high definition cable anyhow.
Yeah, so it's incremental here and there. Can we look forward to any more acreage actually coming into production? I mean, is the U.S. still paying farmers not to produce at this point in time?
Well, there's not much of that going on anymore because the profits from planting soybeans, for example, is at a record high. And so there's no incentive to do that except on land that's totally unreliable. In other words, there's always going to be land somewhere that a farmer figures out that a government program is an assured paycheck where planting it is not. And so that will always be so. But there isn't any undiscovered land in North America. Mm-hmm. China's land is shrinking.
Yeah, desertification, huh?
Yeah, and they recently, China is a new world. People don't understand how much China is changing. They did a survey of their land and released the results. We can't get our government to release anything, but they determined that 20% of their agricultural land
it's contaminated.
is polluted is polluted by heavy metals like cadmium. And the people won't eat the food that's grown on that land. And you can't hardly blame them.
Oh, sure.
There's just not more land, there's not more water, and technology will help, but it's gains now are hard. Very hard. When you and I were kids, it was typical for a farmer to plant 10 to 13,000 seeds per acre on corn. Now they're at planting 34 to 43,000 seeds per acre. I mean, you get to the point where you just can't put in more plants on a plot of ground. They won't fit.
We're going to take Detroit and turn that into a big farm center?
I don't know. You got all that pollutants there.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, what about Siberia? There's big parts of that could be turned to production, right?
You mentioned that, but I have determined, since Russia and the Ukraine have become so important in agriculture, that the American journalists have no idea of direction. I read one where he was reporting on the dry conditions in wheat in eastern Russia. I said, this guy does not realize that eastern Russia is Siberia.
Yeah.
And they don't grow a lot of wheat in Siberia.
No.
He really meant the eastern edge of the western wheat fields. But you can't train a journalist.
Yeah, well, it's like trying to train a Jack Russell Terrier. It's futility.
Or a cat.
Yeah.
Or a cat.
Yeah. So, Ned, we got to go, but tell us again where we subscribe to your publications.
Yeah, my gold website is valueviewgoldreport.com, and agriculture is at agrafoodvalueview.com.
All right. And just click the links in the show notes to this interview, and it can be found at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter. Ned, we'll talk with you again real soon. You be well.
All right. It was fun as always.
As always. Thanks, Ned.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next.
Urgent alert. Ex-Secret Service agent claims it's worse than people know. One of Obama's former Secret Service agents recently smelled a rat. What he discovered inside our government was so devastating, he only saw one option. He quit. What's worse, he fears what he found could affect your job, your neighborhood, and most importantly, your family, very soon. It's worse than people know, he said in a recent interview, and I'm not trying to scare you either. We too share his concerns. This is why we've devoted the better part of 3 years collecting solutions for nearly all problems created by intrusive governments, and we've succeeded. Go to hiddensecrets1.info to check out all the details. Our panel of insiders have devised a legal but sneaky set of solutions to help you reclaim your privacy from the NSA, opt out of Obamacare, and make a bundle from little-known investments and small business opportunities. Simply visit hiddensecrets1.info. That's Hidden Secrets, the number 1.info.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.